Welcome back, listeners, to today's episode of Best Blend. Today, we sit down with Pradeepa Narayanaswamy. She's a TEDx speaker, executive coach, and author of Practical Leadership Simplifying the Complexity. But before that, obviously, this is your host, Sana, and let me ask you something. What if confidence wasn't the starting point, but the result? That is an interesting question, right? Well, our guest Pradeepa, also known as a diamond miner for leaders, has helped high growth companies and powerhouse individuals unlock their most authentic leadership from within. From her roots in India's tech corridors to transforming boardrooms across the globe, she brings a blend of cultural depth, fierce compassion, and unapologetic honesty. And today we're diving into a radical reframe: confidence as an outcome, not a prerequisite, and what that means for leadership, resilience, and success in business. So, if you have ever felt like you needed more confidence to take the leap, this conversation might just shift everything. So, with that, Pradeepa, welcome to the show. And I'm really, really excited and really confident that this conversation is definitely going to change some minds out there.
Sarah, thank you so much, so much. It's just an honor and a very, it's been such a pleasure to be here with you and speak with you today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, Pradeepa, of course, listeners are going to be very, very interested to know how exactly confidence is not a prerequisite. When we um, let's say a youngster starting as a career right after graduation. In fact, even during graduation, also, here we are constantly told to be confident when you're giving interviews, to be confident when you're talking to someone, to be confident when you are, dealing with any kind of situation in life. So, how exactly it's not a prerequisite?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. And it starts, Sana, what you pointed out is such a valuable insight here because of often it doesn't even have to start at the career level, right? Like where you just started. Right from a young age, we've been told by elders, by our parents, by our teachers, hey, be confident, show up confident, speak confident, have confidence, right? All these are, all these have been told to us. And we've been brought up like that. We've been taught like that, and what we are not taught is what is confidence, right? So that's a very interesting dilemma. We've been asked to be confident, but what exactly it is, right? Like, how do we actually show up confident? Is it like a five-step process, right? Or three things that we have to do? No, not exactly. And, your question on people who are transitioning from graduating from college into work, right? Like, oh, be confident in interviews, you just said that, right? How do I do that? Like, what does it actually mean? Is there like a definition of confidence? And one of the it's interesting that we are talking about this. Majority of the people I'm talking about, a lot of people that I work with are been in their career for 15 to 20 years and above, right? Like senior executives, senior leaders who've been in the corporate space, corporate leaders for several years. And one of the themes that I see in my in my clientels is confidence, right? So you think about, I need confidence. You just say like, I need confidence to be able to get my job or an interview. No, it actually, we carry that confidence aspect throughout our life. It doesn't matter whether you're starting your career journey or you're
Mhm.
15 to 20 years into your career. Confidence has been is being something that a lot of people are struggling with. And one of the big insight in my own journey, and I invest a lot in my own development and growth. What I've come to realize is confidence is not something that you need as an input or as a starting point to go into something, to venture into something, to accomplishing a goal or getting a job or acing an interview, whatever that is. Confidence is simply a result. It's not a requirement. And what I mean by that is, we'll just take an example here, Sana, right? You said you used this example. We'll just use that example, right? Like, let's say somebody is graduating new and going
Mm-hmm.
to interviews, right? And they've
Mm-hmm.
all along they've been told, let's just use you as an example, right? Like that way I can just use a name. Sana, you have to be confident for you to go into an interview. And here you're wondering, like, what does that mean? How do I do that? Right? Like you're starting to think about something that you have to do by yourself to be confident, to feel confident, right? But what I'm going to bust here is you don't need any of those things, right? Let's say you're going for an interview, right? Go, just go, right? Prepare for the interview. Don't go unprepared, right? Interview to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Don't confuse yourself. Don't pressure yourself to say, I have to be this way. I have to feel this way. I have to be confident. I'm going to challenge that thinking and say, just go for your interview, right? It may be your first interview. Go for it. So, Sana, what happens after we finish our first interview?
If I remember my time, I had taken a huge sigh of relief and then I thought, okay, I'm done. Now let me relax.
Yeah. Okay. Right? All right. I have done it. Right? Irrespective of the outcome, irrespective of whether I passed this round and going on to the next round or not, you just said, like, you, you completed this, right? You
Right.
got to check. Like, I've done it. I didn't die, right? Like, I didn't have a heart attack. I went through the process. I came out of it. And if you remember that time, just think about your first interview, Sana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aside of feeling a sigh of relief, oh my God, yes, I've done it. Now I can relax. How did you, how confident were you on your
Um,
ability to go about an interview?
okay. Okay. So, um, I was so actually my I had taken a lot of lessons from my father
Yeah.
in terms of preparing for the interview, especially when we get interviewed for our soft skills or exploring more about us apart from the technical part. So in that particular area, I had actually done good surprisingly, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
uh, could be because I practiced it so many times. I did some mock interviews with my friends, and even the senior, who had graduated like a year before us. So that helped. But yes, I was really, really sometimes I couldn't perform very well in the during the technical round,
Yeah.
where I thought, and then I said, okay, I may not be able to give an answer to that. And I felt really, very bad.
Yeah, you felt really, really bad, right? Like after, oh my God, like I don't know what to do. But
Yeah.
the thing is, you went through that, right? It's
Yeah.
it's whatever happened in that interview, you actually went through that and you took a step, right? Like, you came out of it. One of the things that I teach my students and my clients is whether it's going for an interview for your first job or your 10th job, it doesn't matter. All we have to do is we're taking the first step, right? And
Hmm.
after we take the first step, right? Taking the first step also, like you said it beautifully, Sana. I didn't
Mhm.
just, appear for an interview. I did my preparation, right? Like I studied, I practiced some of these skills. I even had some mock interviews with some of the people that I know. That
Hmm.
is something in your control, right? So you are practicing, you are preparing for it, right? So that's in your control. And how you show up for that interview based on everything you have done, you can control, right? Like maybe there is a technical question or a technical area that you didn't prepare or you didn't know, and that question was being asked, right? And like you said, like you couldn't answer that.
Yeah.
So what? Nothing bad will happen because of that, right? You still
Yeah.
continue the interview. At the end of the interview,
Hmm.
what I wanted to point out to you and your listeners is you have learned something.
Exactly. Yes.
You have learned what are all the areas that you're good, and you can continue to, bring that brilliance into these conversations. And what are some of the areas that you can go back, revisit, or learn or relearn, right? And adjust what your learning is so that you can be better prepared next time.
And that's exactly how confidence is an outcome or a result of that practice, not
Yes,
a prerequisite.
exactly. You don't need to uh, go into an interview with, if, oh, I have to be confident so that I can answer this way, so that I will pass the interview, so that I will get the job or I will move on to the next round. People use confidence and think that they have to have that so that that's going to bring them or get them the job. And that puts a lot of pressure. So, what I teach and what I wanted to share with your audience is take the pressure away. Even say to yourself, I don't have to be confident. All I have to do is just go through this first step. That's it. However it may go, at the end
Mm-hmm.
of it, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to reflect and I'm going to learn something. Not to beat myself on the questions that I did not answer well, just to reflect and see what are all the areas that I can prepare differently or I can prepare even better next time.
Absolutely. And then, and if we look at this from uh, even a business perspective or a life perspective, what I get understand from this, Pradeepa, is that we may not have the answers and solutions to all the questions and problems that we face with, but from each and every situation, problem statement, crisis, what we learn, all these learnings, they make us more confident when we are yet to tackle the next one. So,
The more, absolutely, absolutely. When you take the first step, then based on what you learned from the first step, you will take the second step. And based on what you learn from the second steps, two steps, then you can take the third step, and then fourth, then fifth, right? So you when you introduced me as the author, right? And also a TEDx speaker. By the way, thank you for sharing that. This is my third book, right? Practical Leadership Simplifying the Complexity is my third book. I cannot be an author releasing my third book if I have not written my first book.
true.
If I haven't written, I mean, if I see, I cannot be an author writing my first book if I haven't written my first post.
Mm.
I cannot write my first post if I haven't written my first paragraph in my first post. I cannot write a paragraph if I haven't written the first sentence. I cannot write the first sentence if I haven't written my first word.
True.
And
Agree with it.
yeah, and the thing is, you just have to keep going. And your first draft, your first post, anything first, pardon my language here, is going to be crappy.
Yeah.
And that's okay. If you, the more that you write, I will just use writing as an example here. The more you write, you're going to get better at it. Now I feel more confident now written my third book compared to when I started writing my first book. Right? It did not stop me. I couldn't get here if I haven't done all the crappiest posts. Right?
Yeah.
All those things adds up. Right? And the thing, oftentimes people, you might have heard this, Sanap, you fake your confidence, right? Like, just
Yeah.
fake it,
Oh my god.
fake it like make it, right? Or fake it till you make it, right? I do not like that phrase at all. You cannot fake confidence, right? Because when you fake it, people can easily sniff it out. It will be inauthentic. Because real confidence is something that comes from inside out. You cannot pretend something from outside. True confidence is basically a feeling, simply a feeling that you are very comfortable in your own skin, no matter what happens, no matter what's being thrown at you, no matter what kind of judgment is being passed, no matter how things go.
And also, Pradeepa, here I just want to see whether it's just a straightforward. Yeah, I completely agree with you. In fact, I do not like. Also, I cannot fake confidence. I can take a pause, or I can maybe simply say, I'm afraid I do not know that, or I cannot answer that. But sometimes, as we say that there is a white lie. Sometimes you have to lie in order to get a better outcome, or for the greater good, for the bigger picture. You have to do it. So is there any kind of nuance with regards to the context of confidence also here?
There are five, I wanted to talk about five challenges that quickly, I'll go through them very quickly about confidence that people often, you know, these are confidence related challenges that people often find themselves in one of these situations, right? One or many of these situations. The first one, you might have heard about this, is imposter syndrome, right? Am I really, really good? Right? Like this is my third book, right? Uh, that when I started my first book, there are things that pop into your head. There are thoughts that, oh my God, who am I to write a book? Right? There are millions and millions of books and millions of authors, so many popular people writing amazing things. Who am I to write a book? Right? So that kind of, and you can remove the word book. Who am I to do this? Who am I to appear for this? Right? Like that thinking is something really important to understand. Right? You don't have to do anything with that. I just wanted to point that out. People will have imposter syndrome, right? Job interviews, it's a big place for that. Right? Oh my God, all these other people who have studied here, they have this kind of grades. I don't have this. Like, who am I to appear for this job? Right? So that imposter
Mm.
syndrome. Number two is perfectionism, right? People oftentimes hold high standards for themselves. And the more you grow in your career, the more higher standards that you are going to have for yourself. And that going for that perfectionism, which in my mind is also an illusion, there's nothing called perfectionism, that can also, you know, uh, become a challenge when it comes to confidence. Number three, fear of failure. People don't want it to fail, right? In our example situation here, interviews. People think that if I go for an interview, I have to ace all the steps and I have to get the job. That's the only outcome that I want. Right? People don't think about what is that I have to do. Let me do my best, and the outcome will take care of itself. People fixate themselves on outcomes, and if that outcome doesn't happen, they consider themselves failures. And if you fail, that means you're not good, and that shakes the confidence. And number four is high expectations of ourselves, right? Again, having here are all the things that I can do, and here is what I wanted to accomplish. And having such high expectations can actually lead to stress. It can lead to burnout as well. And of course, fear of disappointing others in your life, right? And that can really undercut and undermine the confidence, because you might have really successful in school. And let's say if you fail the interview, people might use it like, oh my God, like I've done so well in school. Why can't I ace this interview? Why can't I get this job? Right? Like that, having high expectations. Last but not the least, is a lack of peer support. Going up and up in your career and in your life, oftentimes you can hear this when with senior leaders, they will say, like, I don't have so many eyes are on me, right? Like I'm at the senior position, I have high visibility. People are always looking at me, doing the right thing, making sure everything is successful. That's why I'm getting paid. And there's so much pressure. And at that level, if you don't have the proper support, the more successful you become, the more isolated you can be, you can feel. And that alone, having those specific pressure and challenges makes it really difficult for people to seek support, right? And of course, there will be a sense of loneliness. Who should I go and ask? If I go and ask my colleagues at work, what will they think of me? Will they think less of me? Right?
Exactly.
Will they
They'll
do
think
that
you are
asking?
better.
Exactly. Exactly. And that also, leads to decreasing in confidence, right? So to come back to the question, right, where I have to be confident, right? Like, how do I go about it? I would still go back and say, right, what's the best way you can show up truthfully in that situation, right? Really comfortable in your skin and say it as is. If you don't know the answer, you can say, hey, that's a wonderful question. Example, like in an interview, that's a great question. And you know what? I'm going to take a note of that. I don't have the answer. This is something that I'm actually going to go back and do some research on my part, and I'm going to learn about this. And thank you so much for asking this question. And if you don't mind, after I learned and after I've done the research, would it be okay for me to come back and or message you or email you what I have found? I may not take I may not be going through the next round, but I feel that it's in my best interest to not just learn, but also wanted to share what I have learned with you, because this is such a wonderful question.
Mm.
See, there, you don't have to fake it, but you are saying it in a way that is more appealing to the person who is on the other side. You are not only being honest, which is absolutely required when you are, going for jobs, right? You're being transparent about what you know and what you don't know, and you're showing your passion and enthusiasm and your proactiveness to not just take down the question, but actually going and learning about it, because nobody in the world knows everything, Sana, right? And if you ask me a question now that let's say if I don't have the answer for, what I'm going to say is, Sana, that's a beautiful question. I don't have anything on top of my mind. Let me think about this and let me get back to you. I may even need to do some research on my part.
Yes.
Bad. is a much better answer than me pretending to know everything. I'm just blabbering something to fill the space. Because,
That's so true.
yeah, in organizations, you want that level of professionalism. I want to be able to trust the person. If somebody says they know everything, right, then I know
They're
they
lying.
don't know. They are lying. Exactly.
They're lying, and it can be easily. You can sniff it very easily. I think someone with experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the first interview for every one of us is going to be crappy, right? But you can't get to an amazing interview without going through the crappy first drafts.
Lovely, lovely. Pradeepa, this was such a raw conversation, such a raw conversation because almost every one of us have or we are uh, we are leading through self doubt. But definitely the insights that you have shared and the conversation we have had with so many practical examples, I think our listeners will definitely now agree with this that confidence is, in fact, a result, not a prerequisite. So, if they would like to connect with you, what will be the best way?
Best way to connect with me is through LinkedIn. People can find me under my name, Pradeepa Narayanaswamy, and I would encourage uh, you and all the listeners to connect with me because I love expressing my insights, my thoughts, my learnings, my journey, my failures, right? On LinkedIn, and only the intention of someone reading it might benefit from my journey and my mistakes mostly. Right. So I would definitely encourage all your listeners to connect with me there. And you talked about confidence and self doubt, right? Like, I just wanted to say one thing about the self doubt.
Yes, yes, sir.
You may have doubt about yourself in going through something. Have that, but go through it,
Hmm.
whatever it is. Because at the end of it, you're only going to become more stronger than before. And the more stronger you're becoming, you're basically um, making yourself handle more harder things, more scary things, and more difficult things in your life, irrespective of the outcome. Don't attach yourself with the outcome. Attach yourself with, I will show up. Of course, I will prepare. I will show up. I will go through it. At the end of it, I'm going to reflect and I'm going to learn. And based on that, I'm going to use that so that I will show up a little bit differently, hopefully better the next time. That's all you can control, Sana.
Exactly. Exactly. Whew, wow, wow. And I'll make sure to have the links and details in the show notes. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pradeepa. This was such an insightful discussion. And you reminded us that confidence isn't something you wait for. It is something you earn through aligned action, reflection, and sometimes, as you mentioned, sheer courage. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Sana. This is loved our conversation. And thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you and your listeners today.
Anytime, Pradeepa. And to all the listeners, if this conversation mined a diamond in you, share it with your colleague or your friend or your loved ones in leadership. And don't forget to check out Pradeepa's book, Practical Leadership, Simplifying the Complexity. Connect with her on LinkedIn. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes for you. And until next time, keep blending bold ideas with grounded truth. Thank you.